So we've been talking about the BRD document. In this video, we will summarize the consent requirements defined in the BRD document uh, published by the Ministry of Electronics and IT. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy. And as I said, let's talk about the BRD document, summarizing it. Where does it all start from? It starts from the privacy notice. All fiduciaries are expected to publish a very clear privacy notice that defines what personal data collected, how is it collected, how is it being used, uh, how is it being shared, stored, and deleted. To do that collection, you need a consent. So you should have a good interface that clearly defines the purpose, provides granular options so that user can pick and choose what consent they want to provide. Free, unambiguous consent without any dark patterns, frictionless, smooth opt-in, select whatever you want, right? Not that you have to accept everything, not that there are pre-checked or pre-ticked checkboxes. Select what you want, and a simpler way of revoking the consent, which is a very important part of privacy, that I don't want to continue that you use my service, my information, so I revoke my consent that I provided with you earlier. Key artifacts: a unique ID has to be established because the consent is going to be shared across applications, across platforms within the organizations. Timestamps need to be recorded. When was the consent taken? When was it revoked? When was the reconsent obtained? You had the personal information, or maybe you were graduating from a minor to a adult, right? So in that case, the parental consent has to go off and your own consent has to come in. What was the purpose of taking this consent? How would the data be utilized? And what is the validity of the consent? Is it time based? Is it service based? Or is the time and service combination that when the service would be over, I'll delete your personal data in 3 months' time? And immutable logs for all these activities, the most important artifact that you have to have with you. Standardized, easily retrievable consent information as well as logs of who is accessing, when are they accessing. Even logs are expected to be protected using CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? Where does consent manager come in then? Consent manager comes in as an intermediary role. The fiduciary needs information, principal wants to provide the information and wants to control what information he provides and for what purpose. Consent manager is the in-between layer. On the requirement of fiduciary, he will collect the information from the principal. Single user interface across all platforms, online sync between platforms. That's a very important thing. It should not be that you revoke consent from one platform, but because it is not yet synced, you are still, your data is still at risk, or still get the service that you don't want to get. API driven backend exchange, because you have to keep them in sync, so there have to be API driven exchanges, and log tracing for each and every activity that is being performed. What about grievances and escalations? You get a grievance redressal user interface. You have to. Fiduciaries and consent managers, largely consent managers, have to provide it. They have to provide this. It has to be feature rich. A grievance like a ticket, detailed explanation, date, time, screenshots. These information needs to be collected, so screens have to be there accordingly. There has to be an automated notification whenever there is a status change, someone picks up, logs the ticket, there has to be a notification, SMS, emails, on the app or on the interface of the web application, whichever way it is. Feedback mechanism. So if you think that you have resolved the case and you are closing it, you should take the feedback from the principal whether he is satisfied with the resolution provided or not, right? And what is the escalation path? He says, I'm not satisfied. You say, I've already done it. Where does he go now? Does he get redirected to the fiduciary? Right. That's what is expected from you, right? And the consent manager has to keep a record and immutable logs, even of the complete grievance cycle. There would be an oversight body, data protection board, which is yet to be formed, or some representation from Ministry of Electronics and IT that would see how the consent managers are working and what is happening to the grievances and escalations within the consent manager. From audit point of view, there have to be documented flows, immutable logs. All around we have talked again and again about immutable logs, performance matrices, who is doing what. Consent manager, when getting appointed, performance matrices are created, and of the regular reviews, these matrices are checked whether they are improving, not improving, or are they at a proper threshold level or not. Immutable logs, dashboards, access to with the auditors should be provided. So that's the audit readiness part of it. Documented flows, immutable logs, performance matrices, review cycles, and dashboards to be accessed by the auditors. That's about the consent management part of the BRT document. I hope that the organizations who have already started or on starting the journey of getting DPDP compliant are working on these. In the next video, we'll talk about the retention schedules as defined or guidelined by the Ministry of Electronics and IT under the BRT document. I hope you like the content of this video and the entire playlist. Please press the bell and the like icon, subscribe to my channel, and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.